Hello, Bobby Torres of Frightbox Recording here. Now, if you've been mixing heavy music for any length of time, I'm sure you know by now that heavy guitar tracks can be challenging. It's often very difficult to bring out the pick attack and the clarity or adding clarity to heavy guitar tracks. Well, in this straightforward and to the point tutorial, I'm gonna reveal to you my favorite technique for adding clarity to heavy guitar tracks in your mix. Let's dive into it. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm gonna jump right into this example here. I'm gonna play the track back, and then I'm gonna dive deep and explain to you exactly how I achieved the crystal clear heavy guitar tone and heavy guitar mix that you hear in the example. Let's check it out. Okay, so the guitar tracks you just heard, there are actually only two performances, one guitar on the left and another guitar on the right. But with that being said, if we look at my tracks, you actually see four guitar tracks, right? You see the actual amp tone here, a DI track, and then an amp tone on the right side, and a DI track on the right side. Now, I don't want to confuse you. These guitars are not quad tracked. They are only single tracked. So again, it's only one performance on the left and one performance on the right. But with that being said, I tracked it through an amp sim, printed the amp sim, and what I'm doing here is blending in a DI track to add extra clarity to the heavy guitar tone, which is extremely important in a super busy mix like this, especially if you want to hear all of the pick attack and that nice, precise clarity within the guitar performance. So let's play that back once more, or just a second of it, without the DI blended in. And then while the track's playing back, I'm going to reintroduce the DI and listen to just how much it adds. Then after I do this, I'm going to reveal my trick for processing the DI to help complement the original tone instead of taking away and hurting the original tone. Let's check it out. So if you were paying close attention, you heard a little more pick attack, a little more clarity, and just a little more nastiness in the guitar performance when I reintroduced the DI tracks. Let's hear the guitars in solo, and we'll do the same thing once again. Yeah, the DIs just add a little bit of subtle clarity. And again, I didn't have to do anything crazy. I didn't have to record another guitar tone. I didn't have to quad track the guitars. None of that stuff. All I did is blend in the clean DI, which you should always be recording, even if you're using tube amps. When I'm in the studio and I'm using tube amps, I still record a clean DI. But in this case, I did use an amp sim, printed the amp sim, and I have the added benefit of using the clean DI that I tracked while tracking through the amp sim. So with that being said, let's listen to the actual clean DIs in solo, and we'll hear what they sound like. All right, so they're not 100% clean. Here's what the DI sound like with no processing. They're just boring old clean DIs, well recorded. They were just recorded through my USB interface, my Steinberg UR242. I believe. But that's not the secret here. The first thing I'm gonna do is just run these through an amp sim, but I'm not gonna use outright distortion. I just want a little bit of overdrive just to dirty up the clean DIs, to add a little bit of pick attack. So I'm using a stock amp sim in my DAW. It really doesn't matter what you're using. I'm using the Tech 21 SansAmp PSA1. Let's take a listen. Not bad, a little tubby sounding. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna stick an overdrive pedal before the amp sim, a virtual overdrive pedal. I'm using a Waves overdrive. Again, it does not matter what you're using, just to add some pick attack. So it's a cleanish, slightly overdriven tone with a nice, solid, precise pick attack, which I'm all about, especially for this style of mix. Okay, but it's too thick. Again, the rhythm guitar is already so dense sounding sounding so meaty and so trebly and so bright that I'm actually only going to mainly use the mid-range for these DI tracks. And I do this often. So on the DIs, I'm rolling off all frequencies below around 180 Hertz and all the super duper top above 8K on both tracks. Let's take a listen. Okay, but I'm not done yet. I feel like they're a little too pokey, so I'm going to add a little bit of compression. And in this case, I'm using a stock compressor in my DAW. It does not matter what you're using. Any old compressor will do. I'm just knocking off a few dB to keep them in check because, again, heavily distorted guitars like the original guitar tracks in this mix, if we take a look, they are compressed. Any oversaturated or heavy or metal guitar tone is going to look like this. Even rock guitars, like recorded through a Marshall or something, are going to be nice and compressed at the source. So I don't want the clean DIs or the semi-overdriven DIs to be poking out all over the place. I want them to be in line with the original tone. All right, let's hear the blend so far. Not bad, but I hear a little bit of phasiness. This is common when you blend multiple guitar tones together. And one of my favorite techniques for helping to alleviate this is I'll sometimes use a delay on the clean DI to see if the tone sits any better. And in this mix, I decided to use a 10 millisecond delay on the clean DIs. Let's take a listen. Yeah, much better. So just delaying those clean DIs by 10 milliseconds gives the guitars a different phase relationship. Now, I have no hard and fast rule for this. Just experiment and see what sounds best for your particular tracks. All guitar tones are different. You might not need any delay. But for this particular tone and this particular secondary clean DI tone or overdriven tone, that 10 millisecond delay helped the two tones fit together nicely. So there you have it. This is one of my favorite techniques for adding added clarity to a busy, heavy guitar tone within a dense, semi-technical or technical metal mix. Now, when it comes to producing pro level results in your studio, so much of it comes down to how well you understand basic EQ and compression within your DAW. The problem is so many home studio owners don't even know where to start. They have no clear path, and I don't want this for you. I want you to achieve better results with the gear you're currently using. Now, because of this, I'm giving you direct access to my crisp and clear Heavy Mix formula. The Heavy Mix formula is a straightforward PDF guide that contains all of my starting points and settings for EQ and compression that I use within a heavy mix. And it also contains clickable links to private tutorials and a multi-track download for each of the individual tutorials, so you can practice your mixing chops along with me. The crisp and clear Heavy Mix formula is absolutely free right now, and you can have direct access by clicking the link below in this video's description. So I'm curious to know, is this a technique that you are already using in your productions? Or is it brand new for you? Let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you've been up to in your home studio. And until next time, drink that spindrift.